영화 젠더 불편한 진실의 총괄 프로듀서인 이웬 창과 한국 에포크타임스가 만났습니다. 제6회 락스퍼 국제영화제의 개막작으로 선정된 젠더 불편한 진실은 트랜스젠더 문제의 심각성과 미국 교육계의 현재 트랜스젠더 산업의 진실 등 다양한 이야기를 담고 있습니다.
I don't know exactly when it starts, but now looking back, I think it's been around for quite a while. I remember there are contents when people are dyeing hairs in very different colors, and there are many different mixed ratio in the same show. Even though when a different race looks very misfit in content, the Snow White story actually was played by a black actress. That says something about race and transgender in a quiet but noticeable way. Yes, first of all, the transgender ideology is in teaching materials. And that's what underage children get in school. Secondly, the teachers do encourage that. They will tell kids, there are definitely more than two sexes. There could be 3, 5, 8, many sexes. Sometimes when a girl said, "Oh, I'm definitely a girl," the teacher might say, "Are you sure? Maybe you are too young to know, and there's no hurry. You can explore different opportunities and decide later." The point is, the transgender ideology is quietly taught to minors. Transgender ideology is somewhat encouraged and considered cool in many school environments. You're oftentimes considered a cool kid, and when you're in a young age, who doesn't want to be that cool kid? Those are the things that's happening in the education system. And then lastly, the law is also encouraging it. If the kid wants to take on this transgender ideology, but the parents are against it, school can hide that from the parents. Those are some of the facts that we found out. They are all in deep regrets. If they have the time machine and go back and choose again, they would definitely not make that decisions. We have seen that happen quite often. And some of the voices in the documentaries are actually leading voices in so-called detransitioning movement. Based on our research, there is huge financial incentives in this transgender ideologies, because once you become a transgender, once you choose to take the operations, you need a medical treatment for the rest of your life. And that's a huge financial incentive for medical industries. Why is that happening? Because once you're injected with the hormones, your body permanently changed unnaturally. And all those unnatural stuff that's in your body has to be maintained in certain ways. And so you are dependent on medical treatments, pretty much throughout the rest of your life. And that's very unfortunate, especially for underage children who made that choice while they are really young and had to deal with the consequences for the rest of their life. I think that's one of the main things that we want to address in this film. In some states, if you're underage kids, the government will fund your sex changing operations. That's another thing, saying the law actually is encouraging it to happening. Well, we all know social media can do at least two things to everybody, not just to the kids. Social media has such a reach to everybody. That's why people use it, because from one cell phone, you can reach to the whole world. I'm exaggerating it, but that's what social media can do. And secondly, social media created this so-called echo chamber. It tends to gather similar thinking people together, and they all think similarly. They all give each other compliments. They all agree with each other. And that echo chamber sometimes encourage people to further wanting to adapt to ideologies, politics, reasonings. That's what social media can do to people. And especially when young kids don't get the agreeing voice from family, they oftentimes tend to go onto the social media, go to that echo chamber, and get the compliments, get the greetings from likewise people. This movie is not about judgment. This movie is not about judging whether you should or should not take this ideology. This movie is about helping the underage kids to make the right decision for their life, because this kind of decision is life-changing decisions. Once you decided to take that operation, it's absolutely, completely irreversible. You know how bad it is to become a drug addict? There's still a chance you can come back from it. Once you decide to take that operation, there's no coming back. You deal with it for the rest of your life. You know, in the United States, you cannot drive until you're 18 years old because driving is a big responsibility. And you cannot drink until you're 21 years old because it's a big responsibility. And imagine you're making life-changing decisions while you are 12, 14, 16, going through irreversible medical operations at such a young age. I think we should give those underage kids a chance to make that decision when they are more mature. That's what this film is about. First of all, I thank all the audience who recognize the importance of this film, because that's exactly why we made it, because we wanted to help kids to make a better decision. And I totally agree with the audience that I think kids who are thinking about adapting to the transgender ideology should watch this film, because I think before you make a life-changing decisions, you should hear it from both sides of the stories. That's at least you should do before you make big decisions. Yeah, hear from the right side, hear from the left side, and then maybe you can make a better decision. Hopefully, this film gives kids an opportunity to take a second look at the decision they want to make. The movie is not about passing judgments. Yeah, the movie is not about saying right or wrong, black or white. And I think for any mature adults, they have their rights to choose what they want to do with their life. And what this film focuses on is for the minor, underage kids, whether they should make a life-changing decision like that in such a young age, with the law encouraging it, with the education system encouraging it, what kind of chances they stand under that kind of circumstances. The film is not about criticizing transgender ideologies, not that at all. There are a couple of things I'd like to mention. First of all, I think for Korean governments and education systems, do Korea want to borrow the experience from US? Meaning by injecting that ideology into the education systems or the government systems. Does Korea want to do that or not? The secondly is for the kids. If kids have the tendency or interested or curious about transgender ideology, I think for their own benefit, they should look at different aspects. There are maybe attractive side of things, but there are also not so attractive side of things. Look at things in all different aspects will only help kids to make better decisions for themselves. In my opinion, transgender ideology is equivalent to gambling or drug addicting. Why do I say that? Because gambling can destroy a family, not just the gambler themselves, but entire family. Transgender actually plays at the same level. And I think the film has already proved it destroys families. Seriously, it destroys families. So for the Korean parents, knowing that it could be serious, I would recommend parents to take more rational approach and talk to the kids, teach the kids, guide the kids, and also maybe show kids a film like this one. And I think the important thing is to well inform their children, and to let them know that parents actually care about them so much, and that's why the parents is doing what they are doing. I think the approach is important. Sometimes parents clearly know something is maybe not so healthy or maybe not good for the kids, but the approach can be a little bit on the strong side. And sometimes certain ideology has a very strong effects on people. So that's my humble suggestions to Korean parents, to patiently guide their kids, to inform them better, to love them more in a kind way. I don't have children of my own either, but I can only imagine when a parent lost their kid and the sadness of it. We all kind of sobbing, and those interviews were very powerful. It's heartbreaking, but I also, even at the darkest moments, I saw kindness and strength in those parents, because imagine they not only lost their kids, they then put their life on the line and came out of that darkness and tried to help other parents to not let that happen to them. They are great people. I deeply respect that behavior. In my opinion, it's a great kindness from human nature. How family destroying transgender ideology can be. One of the lady who is the organizer of she is a lawyer, and her daughter adapted to this ideology, and she chose a boy's name, and she behaved radically, and the teachers hiding all that ideology adaptation from her, and even the social workers came to her family and say, you are doing the wrong thing to your kid because you do not allow your kid to adapt to the gender choice that she chose. The lady, because she's a lawyer, she fought all the way till the point she had to move her entire family, including her daughter, out of California. They moved to another state to escape that system, to escape that government system. And only because all the sacrifices and hardships that she put up, she saved her daughter. And when her daughter came out of it, her daughter thanked her for doing that. But not every parents are like her. She's a lawyer. She's very capable. She couldn't fight the system, and she did not win. The result was she lost her daughter. That's how damaging it could be. This is not a single, special, independent case. We see that a lot. It took an angle from understanding the minor kids. It focuses on minor kids who are thinking about taking the transgender ideologies. And it's a unique film in this regard. I really hope there are more people in Korea can discover this film, can learn from this film, can share this film, because I think the information and the research done in this film is valuable to this particular ideology and to people who are going through it, to the parents who have to deal with it. This film provides important information for you. In many ways, this film is about protecting young kids' human rights, because when they need to make a life-changing decisions, I think one, they need to be very, very well informed. And two, sometimes maybe we need to tell them that maybe you should not make such a big decision in such a young age, because some decision better be made when you are more mature. And this film is about hopefully protecting young kids from certain things.